So when we use a notary business as a means to transfer income into our day-to-day step-by-step process, then as a one person, one man, one woman show, it's important that you use technology that's been adapted to today's current customer behaviors to consistently and predictably be able to serve them. The 100% rule, which means when people contact you, when you provide one thing, that's it, one thing, and people contact you, this is the 100% rule, that you close 100% of the deals. This is a rule that applies to the notary business in an immense fashion because unless you sell car tires, unless you sell groceries and deliver flowers, the likelihood of somebody calling you for cupcakes, for tickets to the movies is highly unlikely. However, them calling you for the one thing that you offer is highly probable. So, therefore, there's no reason why we should let these clients slip right through our fingers. There's no reason about availability. There's no excuse about price. There should be always an answer based upon because you know what they're calling you for. You know why they want you. They didn't call you for tickets to an NBA game. They called for a notarization, a stamp, a signature. You're effectively organizing a meeting between two people. In this method, as you begin to scale and grow and become more active, unless you work in every aspect of your business, it must be automated. And this is the reason why it becomes a predictable and consistent flow, especially when you know the outcome, when you know what the finish line looks like. So, we're going to go into great detail about how this works in a step by step fashion. I'm going to give you a case study, real life example. If you've never been to the Brain Box, then you are a business owner who has been seeking out information that make your business run more efficiently. If you've never been inside here and you've been looking for the alternative to what people erroneously refer to as general notary, this is for you if you've never experienced anything outside of real estate related documents. This is certainly for you if you were introduced to this industry through loan signing. If you've been an employee of a notary company, of a lawyer office, if you worked in banks or hospitals, or anything that required consistent notarizations, however, you didn't find the leads yourself. This is definitely for you if you struggle with getting consistent clients and converting hot leads. Again, the one person who calls you for the one thing that you offer, if you struggle to convert those people into confirmed secure appointments. This is for you. So I'm glad you came to the right place. If a, then the notary business school is where I like to tell people I cut my teeth. I was introduced to the industry. I show this picture because I had a really important woman, very important woman, make a comment and say that when you tell people about who you really are and what you did and what you've tried and things that it helps them to connect with you. So I show this picture just to tell people a little bit about my background. The Notary Business School is where I learned the ins and outs of how to be a notary, how to be a professional. After that, the Notary Cashflow Academy is what ultimately brought the business aspect of the notary industry. Notice I didn't say the notary business, the notary field, the notary business, the notary industry. The technical side of being a notary, stamping documents, once you got it, you got it. But what really ultimately accelerates your growth is the business aspect. So after that point, the Notary Cashflow Academy is where these strategies and these techniques have been materialized and they've been developed. I started the Golden Stamp Notary company to address the specific ideas of a notary business owner. The Golden Stamp Notary philosophy is the golden stamp. You provide the golden stamp, the stamp that can help anybody, the stamp that does help everybody, because when they call you, you reach out to them, and this is the step-by-step process. Ultimately, I began packaging this step-by-step process in what's called Notary on Automation. It's a 5-week course that helps notaries input some of these strategies that you're getting ready to see. I'm also the author of a book called Thumbtack for Notaries that lays out the plan for people who are introduced to paid advertising. Again, this is for you if you want to look outside of what people traditionally know as the notary business, quote unquote, notary business. It's not all a business. Attending a conference and listening to someone tell you about the projections of the market and the interest rates increasing and uh, talking, and you have to visit a office 6 times before they work with you. That's not the business. If you want to be introduced to a different aspect of notary business, Contact with Notaries, perfect introduction for you. This is me on the side with 3 of my good friends. We play basketball together. Believe it or not, uh, I'm a great basketball player. Still am. And these guys, one of them recently had a birthday, but these are the guys that we went to a school, mostly white kids at this college. But when we came to the school, and the 4 of us at the same time played on the, and there was another guy there, but we never lost in 4 years of playing intramural basketball. We won championships every year, so I'm really tight with these guys, and uh, these guys have kind of helped mold my adult life. So I love checking out with these guys, and I'm actually going to go visit one of them, the short guy. He lives down in Southern California. But this is a little bit about my background, a little bit where I came from, and I think this is a good picture to show about how my approach to business, and I just want to have fun. So the automated business model is when someone calls you at December 8th, 4:38 p.m. and because you have a job, you work 9 to 5, you work with kids in the evening times. Maybe you're in the bed taking a shower, maybe you're watching a movie, maybe you're driving, maybe you're doing anything that you really enjoy. Maybe you're out just living your life. You could be on a boat, you could be on an airplane. I hope you guys get the point where I'm saying you live your life. Your life isn't going to stop. Things are not going to stop happening in your life because that's what this is. Expect that. I can predict your future and tell you that your life will continue to go on. And then at some point, we all going to transition. We're going to die. Seriously, that's the reality. But in the meantime, because you have a notary business, because you have a step by step process, this is the business model. On occasion, you're going to miss a call. Am I right? If you've occasionally missed a call, then you've missed the opportunity to deliver the one thing that you offer to the person who's asking for the one very question. So when I miss a call, you don't really miss a call because you follow up with a text. And this text is the introduction to the automated business engine, which we'll go over in a few seconds. Now, we don't really like to miss calls, do we? We like to answer the calls. But like I said, because you are out living your life, you're out with your kids, you're out grocery shopping, you occasionally are unable to miss the moment to speak to somebody. You're probably going to, on occasion, come across some times where you are unable to answer the phone. And we go into great detail why you sometimes should miss the phone call and why that's not a reason to miss the appointment. So here's an example. Answering a phone call is easy, okay? At this point, you should all be past step one, which is answering the phone call. I'm not going to give you advice on answering the phone call. That's step one. We should all be beyond that. And if you're not beyond that, then what are you doing here for the last 6 months, 10 months, years? Let's get you past that point and get you comfortable with answering the phone. But if you don't, and again, we go into great detail why you should sometimes not answer the phone because it may be a dangerous situation. It may be a loud environment. You may not be able to professionally answer the phone. So occasionally you miss a call, but that's no problem, is it? Not when you have an automated business model. It's not an issue. I was just in the bathroom. Too much information, right? But do you go to the bathroom? Do you take showers? I hope you do. And guess what happens when you go in the bathroom? Oh my God, the same. This is like scientifically proven. Whenever you go take a shower, what happens? The phone rings, doesn't it? Whenever you go and take out the trash, what happens? The phone rings. So you can either have the phone in your pocket 24 hours, 7 days a week, or whenever your business hours from 7 to 7 or 8 to 8 or Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, or you can continue to live your life like you intended to. Continue to do the things that you truly enjoy without being glued to this phone. You don't have to worry about missing calls because you follow up. Oh, I see that I just missed a phone call. I was at a basketball game, 4:38 p.m. It was loud, there was whistles, people cheering. Ring, ring, phone rings. And this is a phone that only produces cash. It's called a business line. If you don't have a business phone, this is the first step. This doesn't even work without a business phone, by the way. An independent, dedicated business phone, not your phone that works with Google Voice or the one that does part-time personal part-time business, not the WhatsApp phone number that you hand out. You need a dedicated business phone so that when I'm at a basketball game or when you're at your child's recital and the business phone rings, you know it's cash calling, don't you? But you don't always answer it, and that's cool because you can't command the highest rate when you're in whispering in the movie theater because somebody needs a power of attorney. So you have to step outside and then you're out in the lobby where people are talking and smacking on food and laughing. It's not professional. So you missed the call. No worries. I'm about to take all your worries away. You can smile now. You can finally rest because you're going to follow up with an outgoing text. That text is going to give them the opportunity to enter into the automated business engine. You're going to throw them into this step by step by step process that produces cash on the other end. So that message that they sent, and then they read it and it tells them very specific instructions. It's not difficult. Remember, the person who called you, they're looking for one thing, aren't they? You know what it is. So when you follow up with the message, you also tell them, listen, you can go ahead and book that appointment. I can help you with what you need. But if you do have a question, no worries. Call me right back. And guess what they did? 2 minutes later, they called me right back. And then I was able to answer specifically what they were looking for. So this entire process within minutes will produce the desired outcome both for you and the client. I want to make something very clear. I want you guys to listen to me right now and write this down. This is how we make money as notary business owners. There's no other way to do it, provided you do plenty of these and you do them well, you will get paid. Some people are really, really wishy-washy and flippy-floppy on this whole process. But granted, you get good and you do many of them, there's no other way to make money in the notary business. All right. Not the notary jobs, not the notary industry. There's plenty of ways to make money in the notary industry, but in the business, and that's what you want, isn't it? This is how we make money. This is how we do it. The follow-up call allowed me to hone in on specifically get very, very highly targeted on what this person really truly wanted. And again, what is it that everybody wants when they call for a notary? It's only one thing, isn't it? When was the last time somebody called you and needed directions to the Olive Garden? When was the last time somebody called you and was looking for recommendations for oil changes? When was the last time somebody called you and needed supplies for gardening? They called you for what? A notary. So we know exactly what it is. And this follow up call allows them to give me actually all the details that I need. For people who've read The Rise of Smart Notary, I quote this book. The follow up call allows you to gather intel. This book is what I call the Rich Dad Poor Dad of the notary industry. If you're not familiar with the Rich Dad Poor Dad, oftentimes that is the entrepreneur's Bible. It's often referred to as a book that must be read in order to understand cash flow and understand the sources of income. In contrast, this book allows you, this is the Bible of the notary industry in my regard. My strong, strong recommendation to follow with this book, because what I just outlined and detailed, that process is greatly detailed in this book where it says the follow-up call allows you to gather intel. What that means is when you be able to speak to a customer, again, you know what it is that they need. I can't stress this enough. But when you are able to give them highly targeted, very specific instructions because you know the situation, you know the circumstances that surround what this person is asking. So when they call you at 4:38 p.m. in the afternoon and you are unable to answer the phone, then you could have a follow-up call with them, which gives you a little bit more information about what it is that they need. Now, you know what it is that they need, don't you? We've talked about this and I've mentioned this over and over again. And I hope you notice that why I'm mentioning that over and over again. I really want to drive that point home. But the information that you gather from talking to them with very simple questions, you're not interrogating this person, okay? Because you know what they want already. You already have the answer to their question. So therefore, the little bit of more intelligence that you get from them is going to give you, it's going to help you craft out their very specific requests. And that's where we make money. It's the only way you make money in this industry. Don't let them want to tell you any other way. I'm sorry, in this business, rather. Let me be specific. That's the only way we make money in this business. And granted, you do a lot of them. Then this business becomes really, really fun. So this message that's sent to them after the first missed call, here's an example of what the person will read. Generic, simple, to the point. And one thing that I want to mention is that the person who you're sending this message to a minute later, if you notice the timestamp, this is going to play into what you're going to see next. It's quick, okay? It's fast. because the person reached out to you quickly, they called you, right? They didn't email you or they didn't bump into you in line at the grocery store. They called. It's powerful that they called you. They didn't call some third party signing service or they didn't call some realtor and then got referred. They called you. It's very important that you understand that. And this gives them, and it's quick and it's fast and is not drawn out and is not confusing, is detailed. It's exactly what they're looking for to help them advance to getting whatever business that they're trying to get taken care of. We don't know what it is yet. Hopefully, we'll find out in a few minutes. And there's a high probability that you will when you follow this method. So they wanted to call me back because it says you want to speak to a live person. Yeah, the person who calls back after they just called you the first time and they call back, this is a not this is going from a hot lead to a hot sauce lead, a piping hot sauce lead. This is fiery lead. This is when you go to Chipotle and you ask for the red salsa because you're feeling brave. It's hot. You're going to feel that burn. This person really wants to work with you because they called back. They didn't call just once, they called twice. And then at that time, you're able to go from just sending them into the automated business engine to giving them very specific details. If you notice, there's a location at the very top line, and then there's also a different link that they receive. And if they also need to get some more, clarification, then they can also call back. So you're looking at this from a customer's standpoint. So this is a process that takes less than 5 minutes from the time that they called initially and you missed it, from the time you reached back to them, the phone call, which is a minute and 43 seconds total, you gather intel, right? What did we mention in the Rise of the Smart Notary book? You get a chance to gather intel, and then you can give them specifically what they want. So, what is it that they want? This brings us to the automated business model, which gives your customer what's known in today's technological world and sales world as the customer journey. But in our case, fortunately, it's basically just called a notary appointment. That's really what it refers to in our language. But when you're doing this as a notary job or a notary signing agent, this doesn't apply because the customer didn't call you, did they? No, they didn't. I want to make this very clear. Going forward, it's important, and from this point on, let this be your transformation. Stop calling the notary industry the notary business. If you remove that vernacular from your lexicon, then this becomes a shift in your perspective and your approach to how you automate this whole cash flow process of helping people when they reach out to you and not getting rejected all the time. You listen to what it is that they need and you craft out their journey. The notary business, a step by step by step process. They come to you. The customer contacts you, not SnapDocs, not MRock, not Notarize, not Blue Notary, not a Ron platform. The customer comes directly to you and you give them what it is that they're looking for. It's important that you have that as your first step of the notary business, that understanding, and this is free, by the way. You don't need any equipment or any type of specialized training. You just need to accept that this is a person who's looking for a specific item, which is a notary stamp or a signature. And that's free. So once you've accepted that and the customer is coming to me, I'm not getting this from a third party source, then I can help them. They're going to contact you in one or two ways. They're either going to call you or they're going to send you an email. And if they call you and you answer it, then you've just eliminated a whole step. So you're ahead of the game. If they email you and then they give you some details about when, what they've got going on and maybe some other question about are you available, now it becomes a back and forth exchange. Now you're doing the intel gathering in written form. It works just as good as a phone. In fact, it may even be easier. It may be less intimidating. This is why people prefer, or a lot of notaries prefer, to deal with clients through email and deal with signing services where they don't have to talk. But the power in being contacted by a client via phone is that you can close the deal in a minute and 43 seconds versus getting an email at 7 a.m. in the morning. And then hopefully you get it in time. Maybe hopefully you read your email and you're glued to your laptop and your office, and you don't have anything to do in your life, and you just waiting, sitting and staring and for somebody to email you, and then you reply to the email, and then they hopefully are not taking their kids to camp or to ballerina class, or they're working or on a date with their spouse or cooking, and then they read your email, and then they say, oh, you know what, we already got it taken care of, thanks for replying, and then you lose a client. So the power in someone contacting you by phone is that it's a minute and 43 seconds versus the entire afternoon where you're waiting for somebody to hopefully read the email. Neither neither method is wrong or better or worse, but consider this. Which one requires less of your time? Which ones can be closed quickly? The phone, in my opinion, is hands down the best way to interact with clients. Email works just as good, but the phone is going to give you, focusing on the phone is going to give you the edge every single time. The second step is you deliver that contact, this client, this potential client, into the automated engine. And then you step away. And then you go back to cooking, you go back to watching your children's the basketball game, or you go back to driving, or whatever you were doing, gardening, taking out the trash, on the boat. I don't know. Whatever you do in your life, it's none of my business. But I know that when people call you, that's my business. They call me, it's my business. So I make sure that they get into my engine, and then I step away and I let the engine do the work. What is the work? The work is when somebody calls you via phone. This client reaches out to us via phone. 92% of all customers, this is a stat by Salesforce. They say that when you get contacted by a customer, the highly likelihood of it being on the phone is about 92%. This is a stat from Salesforce. If you're not familiar with this company, it's a huge, huge, huge company. Basically, I want to say about 46% of companies and businesses use their cloud-based software. So they've got some stats. There's a if you so let's say you don't have a business phone. So already you've cut yourself off from 92% of the opportunities out there. You don't have a cell phone that is committed and dedicated to just business interactions. You're already losing. So if next time somebody says, hey, here are the top 5 things that you should have, and if a dedicated business phone, I'm not talking about Google Voice. You want to dump that as soon as possible. Somebody tell you you need, what are the top 3 things I need? And if a dedicated business phone isn't on that list, you're already talking about a job. You're not talking about a business in which a customer contacts a business. Do you have the phone number to the CEO of Starbucks when you want coffee? No, you have the phone number to the company, to the store. You call them and you say, what time do you open on Christmas? They say, we open up at 8 a.m. and then we close at 2, because all customer interactions happen over the phone, especially in our service-based industry. So if you don't have a cell phone, a dedicated business phone, then you're already losing out. Go do that now. $20, $40. Go get a Cricket wireless phone, something cheap. Doesn't have to be the latest, just has to work because it only serves one function. We reply quickly. It's important that the person who responds the fastest has a 35 to 50% increase in getting a customer. Now, how does this relate? And I want you to listen to this. How does it relate to the industry of notary? Because it can't be left up to chance when you have the ability to give the client, the prospect client, exactly what they're asking for. It can't be left up to chance to let this slip through the cracks. The person who responds first, the person who responds first gets the client. Now, the beautiful thing is that when this client called at December 8th, 4:38, a person didn't answer the phone. No, in fact, a robot answered the phone. And that robot doesn't answer the phone 30 to 50 or 92% of the times. No, it answers 100% of the time because it's worth it and it can't be left up to chance to help the person who's calling for the one thing that you offer and the one thing that they need. Why would you leave it up to chance? It doesn't make sense. Not for a business, maybe for a job, perhaps, but not for a business. And you, my friend, are a business. So you cannot leave that up to chance. You must have a system that gives the client exactly what they need when they need it, at the time that they want it, on the first attempt. It can't go beyond that. So this automated business model allows you to miss a phone call because you're at the game or you're taking a shower, you follow up with a text message, they call you, you gather some intel, and at first you thought they just needed a signature, didn't you? Yeah, because that's what most people need. But when we gather intel and when we take a little bit more of a inventory of what this person's calling for, we know that they're actually calling to get a power of attorney inside of a medical facility, not just any medical facility, but the intensive care unit of the medical facility that's a couple of cities away. Now, we all know that when people get on the phone with I'm talking about notaries, by the way. We know this, and you might be guilty of this because I certainly was at some point. And once I acknowledge that I'm there and I need to get away from that, then now I'm able to better navigate these situations. But we all know that when people call us, customers call us, we have a tendency to interrogate them. We have a tendency to talk too much, and we can talk ourselves out of the appointment. And the way we do that is very simple. You might be doing it. You might be guilty of this. The way you do that is by talking too much, getting too personal, or asking questions that have nothing to do with coordinating this appointment. We ask simple, straight based questions. Where are you? Who's going to be there? And when do you want it? That's it. Where are you? Who's there? And you want me to come right now? Okay. So you are in a medical facility and not just any medical facility, but there might be some access issues in terms of getting onto the intensive care unit floor because, it's intensive. And people are getting very specialized treatment there, so they can't just let anyone walk up there. But you're not just anybody, are you? No, you're here for a very specific reason in this family's request. So you get some more information about what the scenario is, what the circumstances are surrounding this particular notarization. It could be life threatening. And when things are life threatening, they're what? Important, they're time sensitive, and they're urgent. It's important that this gets done quickly. And it has to be done right the first time. So when you're talking to clients, that's what the message you're conveying to them. You are dealing with a money product right now. You're dealing with a money product. You deal in the money business. When you're dealing with power of attorneys, and by the way, all notary is about money if you didn't know that, but particularly power of attorneys, you're dealing with someone's livelihood. Everything's urgent. Everything is urgent. So here's the next step. without interrogating the client, without interrogating the family, chances are the person who's calling you is not the person who needs the notarization themselves. They're probably a family member, or could be a spouse or loved one, could be a child. In some way or another, it could be it could be somebody on the staff. It's possible, but the likelihood of the person who is requesting the notarization, that's not them talking on the phone. So we know that given the scenario, there's some questions that can go without asking. This is how we are able to make this process very easy and less stressful for the client. You say yes, we can do it. The answer is yes, because that's what they're looking for. We can do exactly what they're asking. We say yes, the answer is always yes. And here's the sentiment. All right, where is it? The question is, do I need to walk into a room where I could potentially be involved with the transfer of $80 million and someone's great 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 grandchildren? Am I in danger of allowing a family member to pass away without their final wishes being met? This is the most honorable moment in this person's life, to transfer all of their hard work onto their family members and pass down a legacy that they've worked incredibly hard for. Oh, they waited to the last minute to take care of this, didn't they? Damn, they waited until the guy was on his deathbed, right? Although that may be true, the respect that you have for these moments and these families and their wishes, the families can feel that. When you tell them, yes, we can help you, we'll be there as soon as possible. Once you have decided on a time that works with you and your loved ones, we'll get there and help you take care of your grandpa's or your auntie's last wishes. We'll help you take care of this important document, and we can get there inside the ICU. We're not afraid of walking into a scenario in which there might be loved ones surrounding this person. There could be young people, it could be spouses, but needless to say, everybody is happy to see you because this is finally getting done. It's an honorable moment to be a part of, for your name, your signature to go on someone's estate documents. But the automated business model is what brought them there, because everyone else told them no. They called another notary and the notary didn't even answer the phone. They just looked inside the yellow pages or online, or they looked at the referral from the receptionist desk where you went and dropped off your business cards and your flyers, and they reached out to you and your phone just kept ringing and ringing and hung up, and just gave them a dead end. Now we ask, how did you get this information? And this is another part of the intel gathering, which you would have known if you read Rise of the Smart Notary. You still ain't ordered it? Come on now. I've mentioned it about 5 times already. Yeah, they found you online. How do we know? Because we asked them. That's where people go. That's where they look. And that's where the business engine starts. And that's how they call you. And then that's how you dump them into the step by step process. And then that's how you get the phone call. And then that's how they follow up with you. And then your automated message picks it up. One of the advantages of having a notary automated business model is that we can get highly specific on the where is it? We can this person not only looked up online, but they were also shown exact. I happen to be in the Summit Alta Bates Hospital, and hospital spelled wrong. I just noticed that. Don't even matter because when you give the person when you know what the finish line is, you give the person exactly what they're looking for, then the person then it's not a matter of how much it is. It's not the price. Oh, well, so and so says I should charge less money. Well, so and so is not a business owner, are they? No, they're job training you. Well, so and so says, "Oh, I can't charge that much." Well, so and so isn't a business owner, are they? No, they're an agent for the Secretary of State. Well, so and so says, yeah, stop listening to so and so. Because when you give the person exactly what they want, as I'm crafting out here, then you are able to do exactly what the person needs. You can charge them it's not about the price. It's not about the price, but it's got to be worth your time. But this whole entire process, from the moment that they realize that no one signed the power of attorney and that they can't proceed forward without getting it done, and that they've called five other people, and then they got four other weirdos who interrogated them, or maybe they even didn't get anybody who called at all because 35 to 50% of business is taken care of on the first, so the person first responds. So we have an automated message that it's going to give us 100%. We can do better than 35 to 50%. And we know that 92% of it is going to take place over the phone. So that's why we invest into that technology because it's worth it. It's worth it for you. And the family is grateful because their grandchildren need a new boat. The house in the mountains needs to get paid for, and grandfather is on his deathbed because he got the other ex-wife's name as a beneficiary. I say that jokingly because I've seen things like that happen before. It's not the price. It's important that you answer yes. It's not the price. It's important that you say, when can you get us there? 6 o'clock or 5:30? We can get there in half an hour or as late as 9. And in order to get the confirmation, they pay for it in advance so that they can get the reassurance that somebody's going to get there. You get paid $229, the whole cost of the person finding you on the web, right? They found you on the web and you've crafted out an entire customer journey, what that's known as, and they are meeting you at the hospital where they're in the ICU, and it's worth it because now you've only paid for this one particular day in early December in the afternoon while you're at a basketball game and you're at the beach or shopping or shoveling snow or wherever the heck you do. I don't care what you do. I want you to live your life. I want you to do exactly what it is that you do. Go wash cars, go practice DJing or the guitar. Whatever you do, whatever you have to do, go work your other 9 to 5. It's important that you live your life. But the $1.83 that you spent on that one particular day was able to generate $229 for a profit of $228. You spent time, training and learning how to read documents and going to conferences and summits and just to listen to people tell you about the job. But now it's time to learn about the business. You've done this long enough. It's time to see your return on your investment. And it is an investment. So far, you've been investing time and energy, and you ain't getting that back. It's time for you to open up your wallet and invest money into the business. Because when you invest, you always get it back. If you put nothing in, you ain't getting nothing back. Let's recap. There's 2 steps in the automated business model. It's 2 steps. It ain't 80. It's not 50. It's 2. The client contacts you via phone for your email, whichever you prefer. I prefer phone, but or they bump into you at church. Who knows? But you, as the CEO, as the person who runs this $1 million, multi-million-dollar organization, as the person who does that, you step away and then you let the engine do all his work. 2 steps. That's it. Same old 2 step. The same 2 steps that you've been doing, but it's time to actually make it into a business. Here's the business model from a graphical standpoint, or for people who need the diagrams and people who need a little bit of a visual. Person calls you, they call me, or they search you on the web, like the person just told us that they do. They calls you on the web. That's how they found you. And then either they call you or they go to your website. Either way, you send them a text message, they go to your calendar, they pay for it, you execute the appointment, or you send notary A, notary B, notary C. If you don't want the appointment, you can send it out to your clients. That's when they call you by phone. Or these are your contractors, all the people who work for you while you go enjoy your life. Because that's a business. That's a business, a step by step by step process so that you can be removed from the day-to-day operations. But let's say the person is the law firm and they call you and then you don't answer, but they get your text message to your website, and then they find out that you do have an email. So once that email gets sent out and then you reply, instead of you replying and doing a back and forth exchange, asking them a bunch of questions and hoping that they read it in time, no, you put them into a model that allows the the automation to do all the follow-up work while you go back to cooking, you go back to babysitting, or go back to work, or whatever it is that you do, whatever you do. All right. I'm interested in you stepping away from the day-to-day operation. So now if they contact you by email, then you let the flow chart do it. They become a subscriber of mine. And then because this person is looking for an appointment, then they get served exactly what they're looking for. And if for some reason they don't respond, and I think 3 hours is more than enough time for you to make up your mind. If I haven't heard from you, that's okay. We'll send you out again. We'll send you another request, and we'll make sure you respond for the next 3 days. After 3 days, you haven't booked an appointment. That's okay. But the follow up, again, remember, the follow up is don't make me go back to the quote. I think I got to go back to the quote because you're not listening right now. I got to go back to the Bible and pull out scriptures from the Rise of the Smart Notary. It allows you to gather intel, the follow-up text. I just demonstrated how it worked when I was at a basketball game and I did it via text, but via email, it's even more powerful because I can chase you forever if I really wanted to. I wouldn't chase you. My legs hurt. I got other stuff to do, but my notary automated engine employee could just chase you. What I found is that after 3 days, 72 hours has passed by, chances are that they probably got something done, maybe, maybe not. But this is well into territory that is no longer probably worth your time. So I've got a model that outlines the next 3 days where we reach out to them via email. Again, I'm not doing it, the robot is. And then after, if they haven't booked an appointment, then it dumps them off, or they just become a part of our crew now, our marketing crew. So when all of this is all said and done, at the end of the year, you can now give yourself some a review, give yourself a CEO review. It's like your boss does at work when they give your mid-year review or performance report, something like that. You do the same thing for yourself. Why wouldn't you? The bank charges you interest. Why wouldn't you charge yourself interest? Your job gives you a performance evaluation. Why wouldn't you give yourself a performance evaluation? This is what the purpose of a job is, by the way. It's meant to give you, sustain you from month to month to month. But you can also take away intel from the institutions that you work in the establishments where you've been employed for the last 10 years. Take, take from them. They're giving you the business model. So one of those business models that you might have overlooked, and it's okay, you know it now because you're a business owner, is performance reviews. So how did you do? You, honestly, look yourself in the mirror. How did you do? You probably secretly know that you could have helped more people. You probably know deep down inside you could have helped a lot more clients if you only were able to answer the phone. If you were only able to get every single phone call and respond to them. You probably could have helped more people, don't you? You could, yeah, you probably could have. It's okay. I had that come to Jesus moment too. And now I evaluate myself. So it makes it easy when you're able to do this electronically. You're not doing it by hand or relying on SnapDocs or somebody else. When you do it, you know it's going to get done right, don't you? So for the year, you can tell how you performed. You can see where you need to improve or where you would like to improve. And being in an environment that's surrounded by business owners, this is where you get this information similar to what you're getting now. So 331 appointments and you know, all the follow-up emails and review requests and reminders and all that stuff. So you avoided over 2,000 emails and you saved 83 hours according to this. This equates to about $228 per hour, given that every appointment is about half an hour. Some are shorter, some are longer, but on average, every appointment is about 28 to 30 minutes. And with the most popular event being the one that, most people, when they call you, we know why they're calling, don't we? It's telling you right here, we know why they're calling. We know where is it. So we know where they are. And given the circumstances of the situation, that's when we're able to hone in on specifically what it is that they need. Where is it? Who's all going to be there? Do they have the documents already prepared? Do you need it right now? Or are you more flexible with the time? Are you a veteran? Are you a person who is a senior citizen or somebody who could qualify for some of our specials? If not, then given the scenario, given who's there, how many people are there, when you need it, all these scenarios, we have the answer. We have it. We know. This may be different for you. In fact, I know it will be because these are highly specific. But with the number of appointments that you do, and you fine tuned it, you've answered the question over the course of a year, you can equate your the value of your time. Um, and I'll just be specific with me, it's $125 an hour, but occasionally it goes up. And this is what you command, but you know where you won't go below. So using that math, using the number of appointments that you uh, average, or that you seek, and then the type of appointments. So the number, the type, and then you also know how long it takes to execute the notarizations and appointments. You could do it, or someone else can. So within the automated business model, this is how it's structured. And once it's understood that the person who's calling you is reaching out to you is not only a hot lead, but a person who has um, failed at getting their work done, or they failed at contacting other notaries and being satisfied, and they failed it. So when they call you, they're not looking for another failed opportunity. They're looking for someone who's going to guide them. They're looking for the person who's going to hold their hand, and the person going to help them through this stressful situation. And it could be a very happy situation because they're going to get a check, or they're going to get a new car, or they're buying a boat or a house in many notary signing agent cases. But ultimately, the step-by-step process that somebody goes through to find you is it's been greatly studied, and it's been understood. And at this time, if you're not doing it, that's the only way you're not going to get the outcome. It works. It's not a matter of if it works, it's just a matter of how often you want it to happen. And to be honest, there's no reason why everybody shouldn't be your client. It's unacceptable at this point. I thank you guys for your attention. This is the Brain Box. If you want to learn more information, you guys will get follow-up emails and invitations to join our private masterclass where we go into great details about topics that range from sales, automations, from technology to paid advertisements to techniques and methods that are not going to be shown to you at some conference or on some Instagram reel. The business owner that reinvests and gets comfortable with the concept of reinvestment, the person who chooses to advance a little bit beyond the introductory level, that person, for that person, there's a great reward. I thank you guys for your attention. Have a wonderful rest of your day. If you need more information, please check your follow-up email.